Okay, what's going on, people? Welcome once again to AGIT Codeworks. Here, this is the part 2 of our former video, which is connecting our online store to a MySQL database. Now we are going to be connecting these products here to our MySQL database, and we are going to be reading the products, updating or deleting them from a MySQL database, which is the whole idea of making a web page dynamic. All right, let's get this. Okay, first of all, a prerequisite to be able to go through this video. Number one, you would have already set up XAMPP server on your PC, so you can write PHP code. You would have already set up MySQL database. We have a video on all that, and I will leave a link on the description to be able to do that. And then secondly, the part 1 of this particular video, which is connecting the database itself to an online store, to an HTML online store. So I would all leave a link in the description for you to be able to access all those materials, and also for subsequent content for you to be updated whenever immediately we upload a particular video. You can just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Yeah, that really helps. All right, so let's start. So first of all, we are going to verify the existence of our database. Okay, so here I have my command line. And then please take note, I assume you have XAMPP server installed, and I have my MySQL database. You have your MySQL database running and your Apache web server running. If you have these two services running, you also would have followed my last video where we already built this online store, right? So now let's connect these products to a MySQL database. Okay, so I connect to my MySQL database, MySQL space -u space root. Okay, after I've done that, I say use CyberStore, which is a database we have created for this online store. So if we say show tables, currently we have just one table, which is products, and then we are going to say select asterisk from products. From products. Here we go. So we have Xbox, LG Smart Screen TV, PlayStation 5, Pavilion, and so on and so forth already installed. But currently, this information here is just read from HTML image tag. So we want to read the records from the database now. All right. So first step, let's open our Notepad++. You would notice we have this script located at your drive C, XAMPP, htdocs, a folder called responsive store, and then index.php. Okay, or like I've already said it before, I have a link in the description for you to be able to build what we already have on ground and get to this stage so that you can follow, so we can all be synchronized at the same stage while doing this video. All right, let's start this. So we already have config.php here, which has connected us successfully to our MySQL database. Okay, all this was done in the previous video. Okay, so now let's connect the products now. Okay, first thing we would have to do is to write the code that reads information from the products database, okay, which we already have here. This is it here, with all these records here. How this was created was in the previous video. So now so I minimize this. So what we do first of all is that we're going to call a function called MySQLi underscore query, right? So what this does is basically it takes two objects, okay, which is number one, the connection, and then the query you want to execute. So now first thing we'll do is we go over to config.php, okay, and you notice here config.php returns a connection. So if this your connection here does not return this, you can add the information here. You can say $con equals to MySQLi underscore connect. Okay, so now this MySQLi function, after verifying this host name, which means our database is located locally on the system, the username, the password is empty for now, connecting to the CyberStore database, it returns a connection object. So the connection is available here. Okay, so MySQL I underscore query will take number one, the $ connection, which is made available because this config.php script is included here. Okay, so this will return a result. So it says result equals, it will run MySQL underscore query. This will close here. MySQL I underscore query. The first parameter is the connection. The second is the SQL statement, and the SQL statement to take is select asterisk from products. Okay, what's going on here is that this same way I can come here and say select asterisk from products, this same query would be executed, but now it will be executed from my online store here, right? It will be executed here before it loads this page, so that we can have some records that will load into these products and their prices and so on and so forth. All right, so this will return a result set object. Okay, so now first things first, we are supposed to check if this query actually returns something. That's one thing we must check. Then secondly, we must also account for a scenario where something happens and the query fails. Okay, so to perform that fail safe code, we can say or die. This will terminate the server and give out a message, and the message will be you can also use the MySQLi underscore error function, okay, which takes the connection object. Okay, you can either do this, okay, either you do this or you print a customized message. But why I did it like this is because any error that was generated from this connection, the MySQL will print it for me here. Let's observe that. So to run this, I already have it open here, localhost/responsivestore.com. But if you want to follow closely, you can copy the full file path for this to clipboard, and then you can paste it here. Then from localhost backwards, you can say from htdocs backward, you can change it to localhost. If you run this, it will load the page. So you notice there's a database successful. Right now, if this query did not work, we will get this message. So let's put a scenario where the query didn't work. For example, let's say the database server is down. So I stop the MySQL service from my XAMPP control panel, and then if we run this now, all right, so that's it. It's trying to get access to the record. Exactly. So this is the message. No connection could be made because the target machine actively reduced it. Connection error. Exactly. So all right, so we start the MySQL database back. So we get the idea. A database service has to be online or active for the page that needs that data to load. So I start it and everything is successful. So I'll remove this database connection successful message here. It's really not so necessary for a production environment. Our app users don't have to see a message that says database connection successful. All right, we can customize the message here for them should there be an error message. All right, so now we take it to the next stage now. So let's verify some records where, matter of fact, retrieved. So I will first of all retrieve number of rows. So I will say if, right? Okay, let's do it this way. Let's declare something we'll call number of rows, NUM. That will be equal to a function called MySQLi underscore num underscore rows, right? It will take the result object. So this result here, this result variable is holding the information here. So this row is checking how many rows are in this result and then returning it here. So for our query is supposed to return, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. But should the query be wrong, it would not return any row. So if number is 0, right? So I can say, let's write a simple if statement. In case you don't understand the basics of PHP, you can also check out the link in the description for our videos on if statement on PHP programming language. So I say if, oops, not there, down here. Okay, I say if $NUM is less than 1, that means it's 0. Okay, we are going to display a message that says no products available. Okay, so that's if this is wrong, if this is a wrong query, or if there are no products available, it will say no products available, right? So now that we've gotten that part out of the way, it is time to make these records, get these records generated dynamically. I refresh this so that this connection to database successful will go. All right, let's connect dynamically and read these records from the database. Okay, now to do that, you have to follow me very closely. This code can get confusing. So notice here, I have my first row. This is the first row, right? It ends here, right? This second row starts here, ends here. So I get rid of that second row. Why? Because the static HTML code will be eliminated for more dynamic PHP code, which is going to fetch those records in real time and populate all these tables. All right, so what I need here is I need just one of the products to be available, right, for me to be able to make this dynamic really. Okay, so I get rid of this. So now I have the first row only and then the product, right? All right, so what I'll do here is I am going to start up a PHP tag after the Agit Codeworks Cyberstore version 2.0. So I add this here. Let me get this a little bigger. Okay, so I say the PHP tag, this is it. So I would say now I'm going to use a while loop. The reason I'm using a while loop is because I do not know the amount of products in the database. It could be 30 products, it could be 50 products, it could be 10 products, it could be 19, it could be 1, it could be 100. So with a loop, we can keep populating until we get to the end of the table. If you are not clear on how everything I'm saying here about while loops, please go back and look at our video on while loops, for loops, and basically basic PHP. Okay, so here we go. While column open but not closed, take note. So I will say while $row is equals to. Now I'm going to check if there is a row available. If there's a row available, I'll return it to this row variable here. Okay, so to fetch the first row in the result set, I would say MySQL underscore fetch underscore ASSOC. That's for retrieving an associative array. So if there's data in the result set, I would return it as a row array here. So it will take an argument called result, right? Remember, this was not closed up here. So now down here under this place, I would close it. So I have a PHP tag and basically just a close tag here, right? So you see this closes this. So these two PHP tags will make sure this content in between it here is dynamic. This first row starts not compulsory anymore. All right, so here we go. Let's see what happens here now. So now what this basically does is this. Let me explain this. This is going to check if there is a row. Like a row is like this line. This line is one row. If there's a row available, it returns it here and is used to process this code. After the processing, it will check again if there's another row left. That means this second one. Okay, if it's available, it's going to also return it. Then we process. It keeps doing that until it gets to the last row. Okay, any row that is the last row, this is going to return a null. Therefore, we break out of the loop and then the code ends. Right, so that's us generating these records with PHP dynamically. All right, let's see what happens here. So now that each record is stored here, for the product, since it's an associative array, we have a video on associative array. You notice that we can reference the data using key and value pairs. So here, instead of Xbox, I would say row. I would put a PHP tag here. Remember, PHP can very easily be embedded in HTML once you have your server deployed properly. So PHP here, I echo $row, all right, and here I return the name of the product. Okay, so that is returned here successfully. So I'm going to copy this, and here I am going to return the price. So basically what we have here would be the price. All right, if I had other records, I could get them displayed like the stock, amount of stock remaining, and so on and so forth. We might get into that as time goes on, but main thing is we are trying to get this to use dynamic data. All right, let's check this out now. So then, now I have products here, p1.png. So this one is actually significant. It's going to be the ID of the product, making it easy for this HTML tag to use PHP to get the exact image for the product. So if I have a particular product here, like product 7, the image will be p7.png, product 8, p8.png, and so on and so forth. Okay, now we can actually do that dynamically also by learning how to actually upload images to our PHP server. Okay, that would come in play when we create a dashboard for managing these products. All right, so now let's see what we get. So this one here will be replaced with PHP code. Take note, this one alone. So I will make this a PHP tag, right, which is going to be returning echo $row. The associative array, when it's looping, will contain the ID column. So it's going to be p, then the ID column, then followed by .png. That's this ID column, if you know what I mean. Okay, next thing we're going to do is, now this our while loop here that started here. Okay, is going to loop through and create this row multiple times. So what we are going to do now basically is that we are going to copy this div here, right? Watch this. Copy this, put it here at the top of this PHP code. Why? So this row will not be repeated, only the content will be repeated. So we also copy the last div here, Ctrl X, paste it outside the PHP tag. So let me explain. This can be very confusing if you don't understand programming. Now watch this. Notice row starts here and ends here. Then inside it, the row column, we are going to get a repetition, which is just going to keep populating and adding products. But if we put this outside the row column, we are going to have a repetition of the rows, and therefore the line will change for each row. So now that we've observed this, let's load our page and see what it looks like. All right, so this is good. So let us refresh. So we refresh this. Now we are seeing Xbox 1500. This is actually this data here, this database, Xbox 15, LG 2000, and so on and so forth. So this is the records now read from a database. It doesn't stop there. We can also add, if you want your $, we can add a $, outside the price, outside the dynamic content, right? Once I drop this here and I refresh again, you see the $, appears here. Okay, now the coolest thing about this is that these records are no longer generated in HTML, they are dynamic. Even if it was 100 products that were in the table and their images were in the folder, this code alone was enough to read the entire thing. And as it changes, this page changes dynamically as the record changes. Let's prove that. Let's change this Xbox 360 to something like, let's change the price. Let's say you modify your price from the database, and everybody visiting your online store across the planet would experience a change in the price. So this helps manage your website dynamically. So let's say I come here now and I say update products. That's the update statement. Update products, set price equals, so from 15 we make it 3000. We are doubling the price. Okay, we say where ID is equal to 1. So this one means we are changing this price to 3000 for this ID 1. You can also say where product is equal to Xbox, but you are better off using the ID column for the where clause, because the ID is the only way we are sure we are targeting only one column. All right, only one row, sorry, this row exactly. So let's run this. So I run this. Okay, it worked, but this message just happened because the server has stayed idle for a while, right? So it just reconnected and ran the code. We can basically just run it again just to be sure. Okay, so the code basically worked. Basically the server has an idle session timeout. Okay, if the session stays idle, it could just disconnect it to save resources. All right, so now that we've changed it, let's refresh our page. So exactly, the pricing is 3,000. So I do not need to modify it statically from HTML. The database now controls the content. This is what we call a data-driven application. Let's say I want to just double the price of every product in my store. Now imagine I had 100 products and it's just a page written with HTML. I would now have to go and start modifying the tags to double all the price. I could very easily with a database just say, okay, let's go to the update again. Update product, set price equal to, I can use a programmatic arithmetic operation. So I can just say price multiplied by 2. Okay, since I want to do it for every product, I do not need the where clause. All right, if I add the where clause, then to double the price for a particular product. So I'm going to be saying, let me explain this: update product set price equals to the price multiplied by 2. That means the price of every product will be doubled. So if I run this, so it says query okay. So this is our current price. I refresh the page, the double of every price. Every price is double. This was 3,000 before, it's 6,000 now. This was $2,000 before, it's 4,000 now, and so on and so forth. Same happens when I changed either the name or whatever. Let's try modifying the name on the database. So I could say let's query first and get the latest copy of the database. So to update a name, I could say update products set product equals, so instead of having Xbox 360, I could say Microsoft gaming console. So that's the name of the product currently. Let's just find the shorter name. Okay, Microsoft, let us call it Microsoft Xbox, right? So which one am I modifying? I would say where product is equal to 1. All right, so when we run this, it changes. When we verify that here, it has turned to product host product 1 Xbox 360 update product set product web product. I said where product is equal to 1. That is not correct. So that should be where ID is equal to 1. Please take note of that. So it should be where ID, because I'm modifying it based on the ID column. All right, so affected, row changed, so it has changed to Microsoft Xbox. And if we come here, refresh, changes to Microsoft Xbox. So that is why someone can build an admin panel and is managing the products in his store. That's basically how CMS works, written with PHP. In fact, 99.9% of the code on WordPress that modifies your data is written using PHP. All right. All right. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to be looking at how we can, let's say, for example, insert a new product or let's delete an existing product, for example. So let's say I wanted to remove the Dell G7 from the system. Okay, that would be, I would say, delete from products, right, where ID equal to the Dell G7 is 5. I say it's equal to 5, and then when I run this, deleted. If you view the database, Dell G7 is no longer there. Therefore, when the site loads, whenever, the Dell G7 product is also gone, right? So we could also add it back with an insert. So I can say insert into products. The columns we are modifying would be the product column, right? The product column and the price column. Okay, we might also want to modify the ID column. We are going to be saying the ID is 5. We are just adding the product back. Okay, ID is 5. I think the date column can get its record automatically with the default value. So insert into product, this product, then our values. Sorry, this would be ID, not 5. Right, so insert into product ID, product, and then price. The values would now be 5, which will take the position of this ID here. The next value will be the product, which will be del G7. Let me call it del G7 gaming PC, right? Then the next is going to be the price. So let's make the price 3,200, right? This is an insert statement. So one row inserted. If you select star from product, say a new, the del 5 row has been added back, and if we refresh this page, the code is back. So that is basically it. We are still going to be doing a couple of things on this particular project. It's coming together, so maybe the next video we'll do as a follow-up on this online store, we are going to add a login page to this so that the user can log in, and then maybe we can have your profile name here. Then as time goes on, we would just add a cart and so on and so forth to this. So this is how we connect our product to a MySQL database using PHP, of course. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also give it a thumbs up, and any questions at all you have, or any preference, any direction you want me to follow in the subsequent videos on this simple online store, you can say it in the comment section, and then I will get back to you promptly. Please do have a wonderful rest of the day. See you next time.